Into the ballgame as Pau Mokeski has become kind of a cult hero in Milwaukee, Tommy.
Fred Roberts hits Mokeski at the other end.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to a special pregame edition We Got Next. I'm Rickey Hampton. I'm a great friend, Pau Mokeski, former Milwaukee Bucks center, 12-year veteran of the National Basketball Association. Mo, we're doing a little pregame show tonight, but man, we got a lot to talk about postgame from what we've been watching the past couple of days in the National Basketball Association.
Yeah, you mean Bizarro World, where home teams lose and visiting teams win? That world? That NBA world?
What? Tell me, what are you seeing to?
I mean, it's not like it used to be in the day. I mean, travel's better, hotels are better. You travel private, so you get out of the arena sooner. You get back home or wherever you're going on the road sooner. Staying in Four Seasons. So travel's much easier. That's one of the things. And sometimes, like you covered NFL for a long time. When teams got to the Super Bowl, what was their number one concern besides football? Family. Tickets. Yeah. Take care of the tickets. Did you get two for this person, that? People texting me all the time, I need tickets. You got any extra tickets? So that, I used to think when we would go on the road, it's just us, a small group. We're staying in the same hotel. We're traveling on the same bus. It's kind of a little more, once you get to the arena, it's loud and everything. But quite frankly, you just block it out. I mean, it gives momentum to teams a little bit, but really you block it out for the most part. So, I think those combined.
It's interesting that you say that. Because most fans think, oh, well, they got to go on the road. They think it's the crowd that causes problems for teams on the road. So the crowd noise is no real.
Well, if you're in a huddle and you can't hear, or they make a run and it's loud, yeah, that affects you a little bit, but not as much. Like come on, man. I don't know how many fans are yelling at you, stuff. Like we hear it. We don't hear it. We don't hear what you're saying in the 20th row. Are you kidding? Now, if you're courtside and you're yelling at me, I've heard some stuff and talk back to people. But for the most part, you don't. Noise is noise. Once it gets to a certain level, it becomes ringing, just kind of noise. But it affects some way. But it's more, back when I played, it was the travel. We flew commercial. We flew 5 a.m. flight to get there early. We had to wait at the airport, so, it's different, but.
Hey, Mo, to help us appreciate that, and welcome to all our visitors out there. Send us your questions and comments, what you think is going to happen tonight, your thoughts on what you've been seeing, and always subscribe to our shows on Sports Fluent on YouTube. But Mo, if you would put a number on what that advantage used to be being at home, was it 4 points, 5 points?
It depends on where you're at. I mean,
it's hard. I know that's kind of hard to do.
I mean, obviously, we're playing Atlanta on the road in the playoffs. It's different than playing Philly or Boston on the road in the playoffs. It's not the same.
The players on the floor more than anything, right?
No, but I'm talking about just fans, fans. But crowd and home court, who it affects just as much. People don't think about it. Referees. The referees, they can feel it. If they make a bad call and people are yelling, "You suck, ref," and all this, they feel that. They know that. And I think we used to always know what refs we wanted when we're playing on the road in big games. Because they weren't, they didn't, the momentum or fan yelling didn't affect them. Actually, a couple of them that we knew, it affected them the other way. They kind of gave an advantage to the to the visiting team sometimes. They're not very many of those, but some of them. So 'cause the referees are human, right? Like if I'm going to make a charge or block call and I'm in Milwaukee, I'm not, against. I'm not. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll call a block instead of a charge on you on this. You know,
Yeah.
it's just human nature. It's not fixed or anything like that, but it's human nature. We're people. Same way. And the fans. When you're on the road and you make mistakes and they jump on you and scream air ball or whatever that is, you can feel that a little bit, and so but it's not that much. I mean, you can't put a point on. I know in college, high level college, we used to say you need to be up by, if you're playing at a big time college, on the road, you need to be up 12, 15 points with 5-6 minutes left.
Yeah. Hey, well, okay, tonight, Mo, we got Indy at Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell, we don't know his status yet. He hurt himself warming up at halftime.
No, he was hurt before that. He was testing his leg. He didn't. That footage is him testing his leg because he had done something in the first half.
Okay. Well, his status is up in the air. And second game tonight is OKC and Denver. They're 2-2. Of course, Indy is up 3-1. Before we go to those games, I just want to throw that out there. Let's look back at what happened over the weekend and more specifically last night, Paul. The Knicks, man, they just continue to get the job done. Knocked off the Celtics 121-113. They were down 14, 15 points in the first half. We talked about that. Those aren't big leagues anymore. But I tell you what I saw last night that I thought made a big difference. But I want to hear your thoughts first.
Well, number one, Boston Celtics made their bed and they have to sleep in it now. In the first games when they lost 20-point leads, they should have won those games. So just think, the series is flip-flopped if that happens, right? So that's why you can't lose games, and silly stuff and lose big leads. It's going to come back and bite you in the butt. That's what's happened to them. I mean, it'd be, if the series was flip-flopped and Boston was leading and they could go back to Boston and win a game even without Tatum, they got a good shot at doing that. But now they got to do that. Then they got to go back to New York and win one without Tatum. And that's a different order. So, I think they messed up when they didn't close those deals when they had 20-point leads and they let New York come back and they're paying for it now. Tatum is just devastating. You could see it once he went down last night. They gave up. I mean, it was like a 3-point game, and they end up losing by 12 or something. They saw that and they gave up. Now they can gather themselves. I think they have a good chance of winning the next game if Porzingis plays better and Brown plays better. He's playing just okay. They have a chance. They're deep enough to win the next game. But I think New York has the edge now in the series for sure.
You know what I saw last night we know this, but people seem to put pro athletes on such a pedestal. Man, that was just devastating to Tatum, obviously, because he knew immediately this is not good.
Everybody knew.
But Mo, even the empathy the Knicks players had, they're out there trying to kick each other's ass, but just to see, man, they didn't want anything like that to happen to that guy.
No, but with something like that, everybody knew. Oh, we're gonna get some MRIs and everything. Bull crap. Everybody knew. Every Nick knew. Every coach knew. Every trainer that was on that floor that saw that happen, and any knowledgeable fans, all those former Knicks that were in it, they knew what happened. I knew what happened. I'm watching on TV. He popped his Achilles, and it's not good. And it's, he's done. And when you're competing, that's one thing. But even if you're competing and something happens, to your opponent, you feel bad for him. You saw. Brunson calling for someone to come out immediately, and you saw Brown kind of run away. He was a little scared, I think, but everybody knew what had happened, and that's what I just said. That after that, it was Boston was it's gonna be tough to see if they could come back. They were down 3 or 4, whatever they were down, but Tatum was on a roll. They could have came back. I would have loved to see the last 3 minutes of that game with him in it, for sure. But I've seen devastating injuries before. I've seen Larry Kristoviak blow out his knee worse than I've ever seen. Every ligament, everything, and you see it happen and you just feel horrible.
Yeah. You guys are real people, not robots out there.
Yeah, that's why we break down. You can't just put you can't just put some oil on us and put us back out there. At least, sometimes you take a shot or, just stuff, you get back out there. But, everybody's human, not only physically, but mentally too.
Yeah, he was having a big night. He finished with 42 points, 16 of 28 from the field, 7 of 16 in 39 minutes. Of course, Brunson, once again, he's just hitting so many tough shots. 39 points, 14 to 25 from the floor. And almost all those shots are contested, Mo. He's one of the best tough shot makers.
Small.
I've seen. Yeah.
Small guy, yeah. But, Towns played well. He had a terrible game. But who really, Brunson was Brunson. You know who won the game, in my opinion? Bridges. Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
He scored 8 points, 10 points in a row. He was making those fadeaways, and he's the one that gave him that other option that really, made Boston struggle, because Boston had control of that game for a long time.
Yeah. And Mo, here's I think a hitting factor last night also. The Knicks out-rebounded the Celtics 43-31. The way Mitchell Robinson was coming in, and he only had 8 rebounds, but it seemed like he had 18.
Yeah, because 6 of them were offensive. So they couldn't block him out. So 6 offensive rebounds is 6 more shots, 6 more possessions. And in games like that, that's huge. And that's why it seemed like more. Every time the Knicks did miss a shot, he was there to get a rebound, it seemed like. Even though, my goodness, geez, can you please work on your free throws? You're worse than Shaq. You're shooting air balls. And, what really is so funny is he'll shoot an air ball and grab his head like it was like he's surprised it happened.
Come on, man. You're in the NBA. You got one job.
Yeah, but hit the rim.
Shoot in that.
You're 34, but that's ridiculous. People think it's really easy and all this. It's not. There's 16,000 people there watching and 5 million on TV. So it's not easy. But my goodness, you're a pro player and you can't shoot 50% from the free throw line? You can't shoot 50%? You shoot 34%? Come on, man. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Shoot underhand. Shoot granny style. Call Rick Barry. I bet if you would do that and Rick Barry would teach you a little bit, for sure he would shoot 50% from the line. For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Will Chamberlain shot underhanded from the line.
For a while, sometimes, yeah. 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 But it doesn't look cool. So, do you want to score? Do you want to shoot 65% from the line and instead of averaging 12 points, you're averaging 18? Or do you want to just look cool and just brick them up there? I look like a fool. Do you know how silly you look when you airball a free throw? Do you think you look sillier shooting it underhand and making it? I don't think so.
Hey, Paul, does this? You talked about those first two games, which was just flat out giveaways by the Celtics. I know when that happens, that's on everybody. But how much of that will Missoula pay for at the end of the season?
Yeah, I don't know. Is he taking any shots? Is he missing any shots? Is he, I mean, unless there's only so many adjustments you can make. There's so much, you only have limited timeouts. Hey guys, stop shooting threes. Take it to the basket. They don't know that. And you know what happened last night? Did you see what happened in the fourth quarter? Tatum started to fall in love with his three-point shot again. He bricked up 3 of them in a row.
Yeah.
Is that Missoula's fault? I don't think so. I mean, but I mean, it depends, but the other thing that I have, a lot of these coaches I have a problem with because these teams now, you see more and more teams. I think every team in the playoffs right now is playing some zone, right? And NBA coaches and NBA players are acting like it's some magic thing. What do? We just pass it around and try to shoot a three. Run a zone offense. There's a million of them. I can drop one for you right now. Horns baseline works every time. I mean, I don't understand why. Well, they'll figure it out. Well, obviously they're not. I mean, that's on the coaching staff, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I know the ball. So as soon as somebody goes zone, it's like they just stop. Oh my gosh, what is this?
When I coached, I pretty much played zone every time after a timeout for at least one possession. Because I know that other coach has drawn up a play against man, which, by the way, every man offense works against the zone, by the way. It's not magic. Every man offense works against the zone defense. Everyone. But the players don't think so. Like you said, they stop and they look around and, they're in the zone. What do we do? Run the play. Run the play. Just run the play. So I did that. I did that all the time. I played zone defense for one possession after timeout all the time.
Hey, we'll move over to the other game last night. Minnesota and the Warriors. Minnesota 117, Golden State 110. Golden State did not have the services of Steph Curry, and they had the services of Jimmy Butler, but it was kind of a quiet night for him. In fact, Paul, he only took 9 shots. Was that the Timberwolves' defense, or he was just being too passive?
I think a little of both. I think, Minnesota's big, strong, athletic. They're pretty deep, and that wears you down. If you're, it's one thing if you're sharing that load of offense with Steph Curry. It's another thing if you're shouldering most of that load by yourself every possession, every time down the floor. It gets really demanding, and so it's a little both. But I think he did come out too passive, and with Steph Curry out, listen, hey buckets, we ain't gonna be mad if you score 45. Go ahead. I mean, who do you want? Kuminga shooting more? Or you want Draymond shooting some more threes? That was so funny because Draymond hit his first 2 threes, and I know Chris Finch in Minnesota's going good. Keep shooting those.
Oh my goodness!
But those games, if you watch those games pretty much to a T, Anthony Edwards comes out in the first half flat. He's had 2 games where he's come out and scored 3 points and 1 point in the first half. How about that? Then he comes back and scores 22 or 30 in the second half and carries them home. But guess who's getting them to that point?
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle he's manhandling, going to the basket, finishing strong. making jump shots when he needs to, making good passes. Julius Randle, in my opinion, is the MVP of that series, not Ant-Man. Even though Ant-Man's playing great in the second half. But guess what? If there's no Julius Randle, there is no second half. You have to come down from 20 points down.
Yeah, and you've been talking about it, and it's really showing up now because when I watched them last night, for example, last night they started Butler, Green, Hill, Podemski, and Jackson. Jackson is the biggest guy. He was playing the center position. They list him at 6'9". Maybe he is a legit 6'9", but they are just so small out there.
Yeah, and they're small at every position too, except point guard. And Draymond, guards the center, Gobert, but they wash each other out because they're out there. Neither of them are good offensively. So, but I've said this for years. not only this year, years. You have to have a big body center to be able to play in the playoffs in a 7-game series. Just ask OKC. Where would they be without
Hartenstein and
Hartenstein? Where gosh darn it, Holmgren. Holmgren can't guard the Joker. He's a joke. That's if you tried to guard me, Ricky. It'd be a joke. You're too small.
No doubt about it.
I mean, but so Holmgren can't guard the Joker. So they got a big body in Hartenstein, who I've told people they should watch. A coach should watch with Hartenstein what Zubac of the Clippers did to the Joker. Did he hold him under 18 points or 15? No, but he made a physical and he banged him, and they didn't have to trap him very much, so they didn't get into rotations that much, and they wore the Joker out. Well, OKC has Hartenstein, and then they have the other backup center from North Carolina. I can't remember his name. He's the big body and knows how to use it. And then Holmgren every once in a while. So who's the Joker's backup center? Who is it? There isn't one.
Yeah,
there isn't one. There isn't one.
Right.
No, there isn't one. How? You're a champion 2 years ago. You got one of the best centers in the league. You got a great. You don't have a backup center. How's that happen? So Aaron Gordon has to go play the backup center. You don't have You can't go get Valanciunas. You can't go get Steven Adams. Someone like that. Just like the Lakers, it blows my mind that Denver doesn't have a backup center. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, the status of that series, Mo. Can Golden State come back?
No, I don't think. No. I think it's over in Minnesota. I think Minnesota learned their lesson last year. When they let their series stretch out, and I think they got worn down. I think they learned their lesson. Chris Finch definitely knows that, and I think they're going to try to end it here in the next game so they can get ready for whoever's next. Whether it's OKC or Denver.
Speaking of, let's go to tonight's games. We kind of touched on it early. Indy and Cleveland. Mitchell's questionable. And Cleveland has let a couple of games get away to me also, Paul.
They did the same thing Boston did.
Yeah.
They blew 20-point leads. The first game they just blew, I think, 27-point lead in the second half. I mean, so you're not going to win that series anymore. And now your best player goes down, so forget about it. I mean, you just like Boston, you didn't take care of business in the first games, first 3 games, and now you're paying the price. And the Mitchell's not coming back. There's no way. And if he comes back, he's only going to be half speed. So, that series, Indy's got, they got a lot of bodies. They're tough, physical. They're going to come at you, and Cleveland's pretty much done, just like Boston is, I think. Except Boston can't.
didn't get a chance to watch Indy much during the regular season. What has surprised you about them that you didn't know going into the playoffs?
Nothing really. I mean, Indy was like that last year. Remember, they were good last year, and they have good size, good athleticism at every position, and they share the ball. They don't care. I think who is their? I think Siakam is their leading scorer, averaging 17 points.
18.
Name me another team where their leading scorer isn't averaging 20 plus points. None. There are none, because that's unusual. And I think 6 or 7 players on Indy average double figures.
Yeah, right at it. Yeah.
And you never see that in the NBA. So, do you have a guy that can take over? Halliburton, maybe. But you have a group of guys that. I can't. You like Denver, you can load up on Murray and the Joker, right? But now it's tougher because Aaron Gordon is coming along. But with Indy, who do you load up on? All of them can score. All of them can score between 20 and 30 points in a game. So that's your strength right there.
Check this out, Paul. They have 9 guys starting with Toppin at 8.9 points, going all the way up to Siakam at 18. That's some balance there, man.
Yeah, people don't understand. Nesmith and Nimbrand, they're 2 guards. They're good players, really good players, and they're really showing that. And Turner's a legitimate big. McConnell's a energizer bunny. So they have a good starting 5. They have got good guys coming off the bench, and that's tough to game plan for.
You are watching We Got Next. I'm Rick Hampton with my great friend Pau Mokeski. Send us your questions and comment. Our great friend Steve is checking in. The Bucks were down 31 points to Cleveland in the fourth quarter and won. What year was that? What year was that, Steve?
Probably.
And he agrees that Golden State is over. And he asked about the Knicks being a championship caliber team. I don't want to get too far ahead, Mo, but they seem to be on a roll, but so does Indy. And if those teams end up meeting their old rivals, that would be a very interesting Eastern Conference final.
They should bring Reggie Miller back to sit on the bench. Put a jersey on. That freaks Spike Lee out. That's for sure. But the problem with that is, and I think like Denver is finally running into it. I think the whole time everyone's talking about how many minutes the Knicks play, and they play too many. Brunson, Bridges, Hart, Towns, and Anunoby. They all play like 35 to 40 something minutes, and 7-game series, they're playing every other day. That really catches up to you. Indy goes deeper than that. So, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be, can they withstand? And if one of the New York Big 6, whoever, the top 6 goes down, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. If one of the Indy top 6 players goes down, they're not, because they got 8. So, and we know. I mean, let's see. Lillard gets hurt. Milwaukee Bucks are out. Mitchell gets hurt. Cavs are probably going out. Tatum gets hurt. Boston's probably going out. Curry gets hurt. Golden State's going out. I mean, just go down the line. Just look at the injury list. What do I say, Ricky? The best ability,
availability, and what you see all the time too, Mo. Tell me who is healthy.
Yeah, I mean,
tell me who is. And Steve said the Bucks came from 31 down in the fourth quarter this year. I don't remember that game, Steve, but I definitely trust what you're saying, brother.
Yeah, I kind of remember it a little bit. That's kind of I think it was towards the end of the year, I think. It's kind of a fluke maybe, but, I mean, let's face it.
And you don't help him now.
Yeah. Minnesota, Denver, Boston, Cleveland. they've all given up 20-point leads in the second half. All of them.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, and we've talked about that before. Those leagues just aren't what they used to be.
Not with the
Because
10-point.
now that Mo, because of the 3-point shot and because of teams' propensity to shoot more threes, and you shoot more, you're going to miss more because it's a lower percentage shot.
Yeah, but also throw in their turnovers. They throw the ball away. Did you see the Minnesota throw the ball away in the fourth quarter? It looked like a high school team, just throwing the ball out of bounds, stepping out of bounds on the sideline, just silly turnovers. So give me 2 or 3 silly turnovers and you knock down 2 or 3 threes, and that 15-point lead is now 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It don't take long.
it takes 2-3 minutes. 2-3 minutes of good things happening for somebody else and bad things happening for you. That's all it takes. And that's why coaches freak out on the sideline even when we're up 20, because we know what can happen.
And Mo, let's talk a little bit about Denver and OKC. The only series that's really competitive, although all the series have really been essentially competitive, but as a result wise, it's 2-2. Who do you like to finish this off?
I still think the depth of OKC is going to get to Denver. You know, I just found out. You know who Denver's backup center is?
Who?
DeAndre Jordan. He's my age. That's the backup center. So
But you know what? I thought that.
So I think the depth of OKC in a long series for sure. And like I said early in the year, adding Harkenstein and Caruso to that young group it gets physicality, defense, and veteran leadership. And Shea Alexander hasn't played great yet in the playoffs. He hasn't played great yet,
Right.
and he knows that. And all he has to do is wake up, and Denver's in trouble. But you can't give up on Denver, man. They always figure out a way to get wins.
And Mo, to your point about DeAndre Jordan, he's averaging 0.9 points a game, 0.9, and 1 rebound a game. So
he's averaging almost 1 more point than I am.
Yeah, not quite 1 point.
Almost 1 point.
Yeah,
but I think the thing that Denver's had is we've talked about already. Aaron Gordon has really stepped up, not only as a rim protector, dunker, rebounder, hustle guy, tough guy, but now he's scoring. He's becoming a scorer that can knock down threes. Hell, he hit a game-winning 3. So you have Murray, who's banged up a little bit. Joker, Porter Jr.'s also hurt. He has a shoulder thing. They brought in Westbrook to bring him off the bench. He's doing a great job there. So but I just don't think they're deep enough to compete with OKC. But we'll see.
About Harkenstein, and I've been a fan of his since last year. He's averaging 10 points, 10 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and shooting 55% from the field.
So think about this, Ricky. So I think outside the box, right? Put your thinking caps on, ladies and gentlemen out there. What if the New York Knicks signed Harkenstein, who is a free agent? What if he was on that team right now? Would they be the favorites to win it all? I believe so. How about that? I mean, if he was the starting center, Robinson was coming up. How about that? And you have Towns. They're winning the championship, but instead they don't. Harkenstein, made more money than people thought, but man, he's worth it. They would be leaders of winning the championship this year.
And the thing about him, Mo, every time he touches the ball, it seems something good happens.
Yeah, he's always in the right spot. He plays hard on defense. He's a hustle guy. I mean, it's mind-blowing for me to think if he was with the Knicks right now, they signed him as a free agent, where would they be? They'd be like the front runners for a championship. Crazy.
Did you think, I got a text here, did you think OKC would be better? But Mo, before you answer that, you're playing better teams every night now, right? So doesn't that kind of shrink some of the stuff you did in the regular season?
Of course, you're not playing bad. You're not playing Portland, right? You're not playing. You're playing the best team. So, I think they've struggled more than I thought because they're still young, though. Jay Alexander's still young. Dort's still young. Jalen Williams they're still young, so they're still learning. The Wild Wild West is Minnesota's the 6th seed. I mean, but to think about it, there probably were 1.5 games out of the 4th seed or 3rd seed. That's how close the West is. What's mind-boggling is what Boston and Cleveland haven't played better.
Mo, to your point with Minnesota, I'm looking at the final standings. They were 3 games out of the 2nd seed.
Yeah.
And they were the 6th seed.
See, but that's what coaches realize that players have no idea about. So in December, we're getting ready to take a break at Christmas, and we got a game against Portland, right? We need to win this game, but our players are lacking. They don't take it seriously. They're thinking about Christmas with their kids, or are going on All-Star break, and we blow that game.
Right.
There's one game.
Right.
So you do that 3 times, that cost you 2nd place.
And Mo, it could have worked the other game. They were 1 game from being in the 8th seed and in the playing tournament. So,
and who was in the 8th seed? Golden State.
So man, that's crazy.
Yeah, but fans don't think about that. That's what coaches do. That's why it's such a tough position. That you're in early January, you're fighting to win this game against a team you should beat easily, and you're so frustrated because we lost that game. You go in the locker room, and the players are like, we should have won that game. And as the coaching staff is like, that is going to cost us. I used to do when I was coaching. I had myself and Rolando Blackman. We would take out the schedule before the year, and we would predict wins and losses, where we win, where we lose. At the end, we'd compare it. And there was always 5 or 6 games that we thought for sure we're going to win, and about 3 of them we lost.
Hey, Mo, speaking of Rolando, how about those Mavericks? They had a 1.8% chance of getting the number 1 pick, and they won the lottery last night. Let's talk a little bit about that. Dallas is 1, San Antonio 2, Philly 3, Charlotte Hornets 4, Utah Jazz 5. Do we even need to go after that? Because
no.
They all probably.
Well, when you're looking at there'll be trades made before the draft in a month, and when you look at San Antonio, they have 2 and they have 14. Those are 2. That number 2 pick. I mean, don't quote me on this, but I think players like Steph Curry and guys like that were 2 2nd picks. Michael Jordan was the 2nd pick, so that's a big pick. And if you can package 2 of them and get a player for some other teams, but people are saying it was rigged. Why would the league rig for Dallas to get first? Well, I mean, number 1, they don't like Mark Cuban. He's not a big part of the team yet. But number 2, it's not LA, it's not New York. It's not, come on, man, it's not Chicago. But yeah.
Right. You think Cooper Flag will be the first pick?
Yes, no question.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that there's some other players that are really good and up there, and there's a guard from Oklahoma. I can't remember. That's kind of like a Murray player, that can score and stuff like that. And there's guys like that. But
Harper's son is supposed to be a good player, Dylan Harper.
Yeah, but I mean, what I just saw today is Cooper Flag is at the pre-draft camp, and they're doing measurements and jumping and all that stuff. He
Chicago.
I don't know if it's in Chicago or Florida anymore. I don't know. But he was measured at 6'9" with shoes on and a 7'1" arm span. That's a big difference. So that's a big difference. And, I guess he's been shooting the lights out, which is kind of his weakness. You need to work on that. But he's, he does everything. He plays defense. He rebounds. He's athletic. He can score. He needs to get his three-point shot down. But, yeah, he's the number one pick. Whether Dallas keeps it or not, that pick could get you something, maybe a Giannis. Who knows? But with other people, with other players, because of the salary. But I don't know. Nico, the general manager in Dallas, after the Lakers lost and Luka didn't look so good, they wanted to chase him out of town in Dallas. You traded Luka. You betrayed us. You did all that. But after they saw what he played like in LA, and after knowing that you're going to have to pay Luka $400+ million for his next contract, they could there's a little like, okay, maybe he knew what he was talking about. But now he gets the first pick, and now he's like the hero now. So that will deter him from trading it. I don't know if you could trade a Luka and then a Cooper Flag in one season and get away with it. But we've talked about this before. You don't know how good Cooper Flag is going to be. You have no idea. I remember a guy that was going to change your franchise and bring championships to your city. His name was Zion. What happened to him, right? So nothing is for sure. Nothing is guaranteed. But, if Dallas takes Cooper Flag and Anthony Davis gets healthy and Kyrie comes back at the towards the end of the year and Klay Thompson is there and Lively's there and Gafford's there and Maxey, Christie, the player they got in the Laker trade, is a really good player. Think of that roster next year. Pretty good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, here in Detroit, last couple of days on radio, there's been talk about Giannis coming to town. Could the Pistons put together something for Giannis? What do you think is going to happen with him in Milwaukee, Paul?
Well, I think they're thinking. Giannis has told them that that he's open to a trade. So I think they are. Hold on, I'm trying to. But it's going to take a lot to get that done. So let's look at. So here we're going to do basketball 101, Ricky. Okay.
All right.
Giannis's salary next year is $57,600,000. The year after that, it's $62 million, and then it's $66 million. So you're talking about you have to come up with $57 million of salary or draft picks to make that trade, right? So here's the good news is Detroit is the lowest salary in the league. They're a good team, and they're not spending that much money. The bad news is you don't have any assets that are worth anything that can make that up. Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris makes $26 million. That gets you about halfway there. Isaiah Stewart makes $15 million. You want to trade Kate Cunningham? Do you want to trade him?
No.
That's $38 million. The next guy is what's that?
I do not want to trade.
Yeah. So take him off the board. So you have to get them to take Tobias Harris and then Asur Thompson, who I don't think you want to get rid of. Ron Holland, who they don't want, he makes $8 million. Jaden Ivey, who makes $10 million. And then they have all these other guys that don't make it. You don't have enough. You could put 5 first-round draft picks, and you can't put that together. So I don't see Detroit's in the picture at all, and I don't see Giannis wanting to go there. I think Golden State, Houston,
Someone
someone like that. I mean, but it's going to be
He
huge.
heard that Giannis said he's staying. His wife said he's staying. Well, hell, that's the end of that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's like your athletic director say, "Hey, I have all the confidence in Ricky to be my coach next year." That means you're getting fired. Pretty soon. I mean, come on, man. How about? I had thought about this because Giannis is not working for Milwaukee. It's not working. They've lost every year. He's been hurt. They won a championship, 3 years ago? 4? I can't even remember. So he's just not working anymore. The last 10 playoff games where he's averaged 25, 15, and 6 assists. They're 1-9. They're 1-9. So he's not working. So moving. So I thought about this. How about sending him to the Clippers, who got whacked out of the playoffs, right? They're mad, right? Their owner is a billionaire, multi-billionaire. So how about this? How about Giannis, who's making $57 million, for the Clippers, and the Bucks get Zubac and Powell, and they have a first-round draft pick this year, and then Jordan Miller, who's a nice player. How about that? You get Zubac, Powell, the first-round pick this year, and another player. That's
What do
something
you think happened in Milwaukee, Mo? They got too impatient, you think? I mean,
I think
I think Trayton Holiday hurt for sure.
Yeah, but that happened because Giannis forced that issue, right? After they lost in the playoffs, he said, "We need to make some changes, and big changes, or I'm not that happy here." He forced that. So what did they do? They got rid of Holiday, and they brought Lillard in. That never worked out. It just never worked out. You think a pick and roll with Giannis and Lillard's pretty damn good, right? But it just never worked out. And then Middleton got old, so they brought in what's the guy's name? Kuzma. Yeah, who is a younger Middleton supposedly, but he hasn't worked out yet. So it's a combination of everything. They're going to have to make a decision: do they keep Lopez or not? He's getting older. He's not as efficient anymore. I think you keep Cogniton. I think you keep Portis. But I was watching.
And in the meantime, teams are getting better around them. Look how much better Cleveland is now.
Better and younger.
Yeah.
Boston Celtics, Brown and Tatum, even though he's hurt, they're 25 and 26 years old.
Yeah.
So they're younger. So I was watching the Celtics thing on HBO. You should watch it if you can. There's 6 episodes, I think. They go all the way back into the history. And what happened to the Celtics after they won the championship with Pierce and Garnett and Ray Allen it happened to the Bucks. It's eerie what happened. So they won their championship. Then the next year in the playoffs, Kevin Garnett got hurt and they lost. The second year after the playoffs, the Bucks won, and Giannis got hurt in the playoffs and they lost. Then the year after that, Rondo was coming in and being a part of the Big Three, and Ray Allen didn't like that, so he left for Miami. Ray Allen left the Celtics for Miami, and guess what he did that next year? He won a championship with Miami. So a couple years after that, the Bucks moved Holiday to Boston, and what did he do in Boston? He won a championship. It's a mirror image of what happened, and they waited too long. So Milwaukee's going to have a decision to make, and in my opinion, you make decisions sooner than later, or it becomes too late. Just like when the Big Three back when I played, Parrish, Bird, and McHale got old at the same time, and then they had some fluke things. With the death of the first round pick, Bias, and then Lewis passed away too. But you can't sit around. Everyone was on the Mavericks for trading Luka, right? They were all over him. Well, it doesn't look so bad now if AD comes healthy. So he had the guts to pull that trigger. Or do you stay with Luka? In 2 years, you pay him 60, 70 million a year. You have to pay him $450 million. And now he's not turning. So what do you do now? So it's going to be interesting. The Bucks have stirred the pot a little bit, but general manager. I mean, you trade Giannis, one of the best players ever. I mean, he puts up unbelievable numbers, but like I said before, he's one of the most not talented NBA MVPs ever.
And,
Skilled,
you
not
know, speaking of,
skilled. Skilled. He's a bad 3-point shooter. He's a bad free throw shooter. He's a below average passer, and he's a good rebounder. But those are three skill levels of an MVP. That, I mean, where does Joker sit on those? He's a good shooter. He's a great, good 3-point shooter. He's a really good passer.
yeah. Speaking of great players, I wanna do something here. Mo, you've seen a lot in your career as a coach and player in the NBA. See if you remember this. Who's that guy walking to the free throw line?
I don't see anything.
Oh, you don't see it? Oh my gosh.
Mhm. I know what you're talking about, but I don't see it. I don't think anybody sees it.
You don't hear it?
No.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, here we go. There we go.
This is the final moment. I'm going to take it back off for a second. Hold on. Because I want you to tell us about this moment and what it was like for you, Mo.
That's the old Mecca.
That's Pau Mokeski going to the free throw line.
Yeah, so that was the playoffs when we finally beat Philly to go play Boston, and that was Dr. J was retiring that year. He had a whole thing all year. We actually played them in Philly when they did the retirement ceremony. It was awesome, but that was the last time he left the game. And I was at the free throw line. I got fouled right before that, and I can't remember. I think I made both of them, but there I am back there. But I know I told the referee, I said, listen, no one's watching us right now. Just count these because no one will know if I made them or missed them because they're all watching Doc go out of the game, and just a class guy. And
Two free throws.
hey,
That's Lukey.
so that was finally we beat Philly.
It's a jumper.
Drains the rebound with 15 seconds to go. McNamara with the layup.
Fly by. Yeah, so that was that's one of the moments.
In your career, what was that like for you? Or were you just so into the game? Could you appreciate it then, or probably more now when you see it? I'm sure you've seen it quite a bit now.
Well, I appreciate it. It's one of a big moment for me that really had nothing to do with me playing. But yeah, I know exactly what's going on. I'm at the free throw line. We won the game already. We finally beat Philly, and I remember exactly. And then at the end of the game, I'm walking off with Doc, and they give him the game ball, and he holds it up, and the fans in Milwaukee are giving us standing ovation.
Yeah. And I tell you, like I was saying last night, with our respect so much, all these years covering athletes, you guys go at each other, cheer for each other, but there's a level of respect that is always in play there. You saw it last night. I mean, but you saw it when Tatum got hurt with the Knicks players. You saw the Bucks fans give Dr. J, their arch enemy, a standing ovation.
Yeah, I mean, for classy guys and opponents like that, for sure. But not all the time, Ricky. There are some guys that we didn't really feel that way about. If something happened to them, it was like whatever. But for the most part, 95%, is mutual respect. Especially, I mean, Dr. J's a legend. I got the chance to play against legends like Dr. J and Moses Malone and Kareem and Magic and Bird and MJ and Dominique Wilkins, and I just keep going, naming them on. And, you don't, even when I was playing, I knew I competed against them, but I didn't take it for granted. I knew, what was happening. But in that game, I knew he was coming out of the game. They made a big deal about it. While we're walking off the court and we're going to go play Boston, I remember them giving him the ball, and he held it up, and they gave him a standing O.
Yeah. And Steve says the Mecca was louder than the Bradley Center.
Yeah, it was smaller. Yeah. I mean, the old Boston Garden was louder than the new Garden, whatever that is.
But that was interesting for those of you that weren't here when we first came on. I was asking Paul why these teams are having such success on the road compared to in the older days when they struggled on the road. And I always just, the fans are so loud, but it was never really fans. It's the stuff that we don't even see.
Yeah, I mean,
travel and.
Yeah, I mean, but that's why, when someone retires from sports, football, baseball, basketball, they talk about their great times and championships and lost championships and, all that. But what they really talk about most, and when you talk to people like that, and I've talked to a lot of them, road trips, locker rooms, having dinner on the road, a team meeting. That's what we all miss more than anything. Now if I was playing now, I'd miss the money more. But, but I mean, that's what it's like saying I've heard I was watching a commencement speech by a pastor. I don't know if it was at Fordham or some college, right? And he was talking about their future and blah, 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 and what you should strive for, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, you know what? I've been at the bedside of many, many, many people passing in my lifetime, and I've been there. I've helped them to pass away and their families. And not one person I've ever been out of hundreds ever said, you know what? I wish I'd had more money. I wish I'd won more championships. Not one person. They all said, I wish I had more time to spend with my family, to love the people around me more. And that's the same with, with the situation we're talking about. Would I want a championship ring? Hell yeah. But would I trade it for all the plane rides and the friendships of Sidney Moncrief and Jack Sikmas and on? Maybe. No, I wouldn't.
That is fantastic. That's a great lesson here. Hey, Mo doesn't give just basketball lessons. He'll give us some life lessons for sure. Well, Mo,
that's why sports is like life, because highs and lows and controversy and challenges and success. And how do you handle success? Bad calls, good calls. That really, kids that play sports, you play sports.
Yeah.
They let them learn that. Don't go in the freaking transfer portal because you're not happy. Deal with it.
Great point, Mo. We're going to get out of here. It's almost tip off. Hope your teams win tonight. We'll see you next time. For the great Pau Mokeski, I'm Rick Hampton. Good night, everybody.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.